I just hit 7,000 miles. Woo! Yay! What's going on, guys? Dalton with a D back with a brand new video. It is not a beautiful Central Texas day, and I think it's just that time of year we finally hit where it's not going to be so beautiful, but this is going to be kind of an odd video, and the editing's not really going to mesh right because today is actually Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody watching this. It's probably not going to be Thanksgiving by the time that you see it, but happy Thanksgiving all the same. But I don't really have much time to ride today, and really what I'm trying to do is get an intro and an outro recorded here for some footage that I got riding my buddy's V-Star the other day. And when I went back to rewatch the footage, my camera actually cut off for some reason about 10 miles from home, so the last 10-15 minutes of the trip were cut off. So I'm gonna put that video up on the screen and let you watch that and do the video that I was trying to make there, and we'll go ahead and make an outro for this. And also I get to show off, hey, I just hit 7,000 miles. Woo! Yay! I know, whatever. I don't guess that's really all that special. It's just 7,000 miles that I've had on a bike. So now, before I cut to the footage of me on the V-Star, there is one thing I'd like to point out, and I figure it'd be fairly obvious, but in case you haven't been able to notice the difference on my bike, there's been a slight modification. I finally got a slip-on put on, and it has made a world of difference. I'm actually rocking the MMW Brap 2 Shorty that comes from Not a Grom, his Mini Moto Works, and you know, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't, not because he's not a big name brand thing, I was just sitting here thinking like, well, it's a little 400, little two-cylinder twin, you know, it's not gonna make that much difference. It's not gonna sound like a super sport, and I knew that, but I didn't expect it to make that much difference, and it really has, guys. Like, I notice it, other people notice it. It's phenomenal. Phenomenal? What? It's phenomenal. So, phenomenal. Jesus, easy for me to say. So, I'm sorry, the cold's getting to me, guys. I'm not a cold weather guy, but I'm out here trying to get this little bit done and enjoy a little time on the bike while I can, and it's just my dedication to the craft, I guess. Alright, y'all, we're finna cut to the footage of me on the V-Star. Keep in mind that this is technically not my first time on a cruiser. As a matter of fact, I've ridden this very bike on 2 previous occasions, but the first time I rode it was about 10 miles, and the second time I rode it was about 10 blocks. So this is my first real ride on a cruiser, so enjoy. What's going on, guys? Dalton with a D back with a brand new video. It's a beautiful Central Texas day, and it should be fairly obvious that unlike most of my other videos, either I've done a hell of a lot of modifications or this is not the Kawasaki Ninja 400. Now obviously the latter is the case, and this is actually my buddy's Yamaha V-Star. I want to say it's a 1300. His brother rode down, his brother's right up ahead of me on that beautiful Kawasaki Vulcan Voyager, that big old 1700, and we went for a ride yesterday. And I tried to get a video done, but I was having some technical difficulties, aka the battery that I had in my camera was dead, and it had been charged, but it's perma-dead. I think it went through the washer. I don't think my wife checked my pockets, and I think she washed something that it was in. I don't know how she washed it, but she managed to wash my GoPro charger and one of the batteries. So one of the ports for my GoPro charger and one of my batteries doesn't work. So it could be worse, but it's just one thing after another, it seems. You know, I'm thrilled to be out on a bike and making a video for y'all, especially in a scenario like this where it's a bike that I don't ride very often and I get to do something different for the channel, which is cool, right? But I still had another video in mind for today, and I may as well go ahead and let the cat out of the bag, even though obviously it's not going to be featured in this video. But so the other day I was coming home from work and I went outside to check the mail, and I was expecting a package, but I wasn't expecting it for another couple of days. But to my surprise, when I opened up the mailbox, I see a package from my old pal Not a Grom. So I calmly walked into the living room, set my work bag down, and headed to the garage, because in that package was my new MMW Brap 2 Shorty slip-on. And I proceeded to try to put it on at 8:30 at night by light of cell phone, and didn't have the tools I needed. All of my tools, most of my tools were missing. And that tends to happen when you have young children in the house. It seems like things just go missing randomly. And that thing sounds great, by the way. Like, I didn't expect the slip-on to make that much difference on that little twin, but it's amazing. And I'm going to throw it out there too. The video does not do that thing justice. And I guess that's probably the case with all exhaust systems, but my point still stands. That thing is fantastic, especially for the money. So the first couple reasons were motovlogging related, at least to some extent, because yeah, I got a slip-on and I'm excited about it, but I'm also going to do a video on it, even though we've already covered the fact that videos don't do justice to exhaust systems, ever. But the third reason has nothing to do with videos, it just has to do with riding in general, because truth be told, that is the third reason. I have not been able to ride in the past couple weeks very much at all, because by now you've seen the title of the video and you see that I had a minor medical procedure recently, and what I mean by that is I had a vasectomy 2 weeks ago. Now, when I had the procedure done, they told me I had to stay off the bike for at least a week, but I might experience some discomfort that might make it hard to get back on the bike, even though I'm cleared technically to get back on it. Well, stubborn me, I'm gonna go be a man, and the day that week is up, right, I go pull the bike out. As soon as I throw a leg over the bike, I realize I'm making a big mistake, and I politely put it back in my garage and shut the door. And I had to bide my time. And then the exhaust came, and I went and put it on and threw my leg over, and it felt right. It was all just a sign that everything was happening just right. But everything went well. There was no issues during the procedure. All the bits and pieces are still there, and everything still works. So, just in case anybody was wondering. But I'll be real honest, I was nervous. I was kind of nervous beforehand, and they checked my blood pressure, and my wife saw it and was like, "Babe, that's kind of high." I was like, "You think?" But as soon as I got back there, man, the nurses were awesome, and they made me real comfortable, and everything was fine. And I'm not a shy person, you know, so I didn't mind having to get naked in front of everybody, but I was just worried about the fact that there was going to be shark things around all my bits and pieces. So, and I was awake, by the way. This was conscious. It was just nitrous, like you get at the dentist's office. So I was awake for everything, but you know, I was comfortable, and they made sure everything was nice and numb, and I had no pain whatsoever other than when they were giving the local anesthetic. So, as a matter of fact, speaking of pain, I wasn't even really in any pain at home. I was in very, very minimal pain, except when I tried to overdo it when I wasn't supposed to, which, you know, like I said, stubborn me. I gotta say, man, I'm really enjoying this bike. I could definitely see myself investing in like a Vaquero or something. I don't know if I'd want the big Voyager like his brother has up there, but I'm really enjoying this cruiser, man. I've ridden it a couple times, but I've never ridden it any distance, you know.
We get into Hutto, we can stop and get gas, then I'll go to my dad's.
Right on.
There used to be a fun goddamn road. I used to hit that shit 75 and 80 now. It's construction, what the hell? It's supposed to be a fun ride, this back road getting my, no. Ain't nothing better than a 1,000-pound bike on fucking fleet cheek.
Yeah.
You said heel toe thing yet?
Yeah, I had to think about it for a second. I was sitting there going, what fucking gear is this thing in, man?
I used to live, we'll get up to a subdivision on the right. The first one, I used to live in that. So I could just jump on this and
buzz all around, huh?
yeah. And I take it up to 95, 79 come on. Just a big loop, just 20 miles or something, just a quick little curly run.
Yeah.
And I was expecting, like, man, let's hit that road today, that'll be fun.
Well, whenever they finish it, it'll be nice to come down. This was a nice surprise, though, man. I was expecting to take a ride with all three of them today, and then I get over there, and Craig's still hungover from last night because he's old and can't handle drinking like that anymore. And he hands me the keys to his bike and says, "Take her out." All right, fuck. You have to twist my wrist. I don't know. When I get my next bike, is there a possibility that I'll get a Vaquero instead of another sport bike? I'll be real honest, man. I know I keep talking about getting the ZX6R, but this has really got me considering getting a Vaquero for my next bike. I'd have to keep the 400 though, man. I couldn't have just a cruiser. I need a sport bike in my life, at least somewhat. It really is a beautiful day outside, and just like I was talking about how exhaust doesn't translate to camera well, I don't think scenery translates to camera well unless you have the right camera. And the GoPro's not a bad piece of equipment, but you can't fully understand how beautiful it is outside through the GoPro, you know what I mean? Like, it's a beautiful Texas blue sky, and the clouds are nice, just everything is nice. You know, now that I think of it, it's even more special that it's so nice out because the past 2 weeks have been miserable outside. The highs have been in the low 50s and the lows have been in the high 20s. I've been leaving for work about 5:30 in the morning, and the average temperatures have been a comfortable 30 degrees, not including the wind chill, and it's been raining on and off, so it's really just been kind of miserable the past couple weeks. I guess everything worked out well, man. I got the vasectomy, and I couldn't be on the bike, and the weather was bad anyway, and then my slip-on gets here, and, you know, then I get to ride Craig's bike. I mean, like I said, the universe aligns itself. It finds a balance if you let it eventually. Because remember, if you watched my last video, oh, and I need to finish that story, so I'm glad I brought it up. Because if you watched my last video, I was so stressed out about all this stuff for a while, and now the world is finding, you know, I'm finding my center. Woo, Fuzz. Was he just in the mirror, or what was he doing? He had his hands up on his head, looked like he was doing the Dougie. Daily 100. So to finish the story I started in my last video, and I'm not going to go into near the detail like I want to, but to make a long story short, just to recap if anybody hasn't seen the last one, I was really stressed out about making videos, and everything else going on, just other things in my life were causing me stress, and whatever's going on, I was freezing up on camera. Like I was just beating myself up about these videos and not letting them flow, which is not me by any means, and putting all this unnecessary pressure on myself. And so after, I guess, a vacation is what I really needed. We went to go see my in-laws in Oregon, and I was gone for a week, and I came back all amped up and ready to make videos, and I got home and I went and recorded 2 or 3 videos worth of footage, only to find out that the USB port on my GoPro had shorted out, and so my audio was cutting in and out, and I just wasted all that time, and it was really, really disheartening for me, especially considering I started looking, you know, well, let me say that. It was disheartening, but that wasn't as disheartening as when I started looking and I said, okay, you know what? I've been wanting to upgrade to a new GoPro anyway, right? And then I started trying to find a mic adapter, because if you have a GoPro Hero 4, you don't have to have this little mic adapter. But if you have the 5, 6, or 7, you have to have this mic adapter that you can see right here, maybe, on my cheek. You have to have one of those from GoPro, and it's a $50 adapter, and they're ridiculously hard to find. They were out of stock on Amazon. The only way you could find them was a third-party seller for 130 bucks, and if not more expensive. I think 120, 130 was on the cheaper side. So I talked to somebody from GoPro, and they told me that basically it was luck of the draw. I asked if I could get on an alert, you know, email list, notification, something, and they said that last time they restocked them, they sold out within an hour without alerts and notifications, so they can't do that. He literally told me, I asked, is it basically luck of the draw? And he said, pretty much at this point. You just have to keep checking the site until you luck into finding one. And at that point, I was pretty, you know, I was about ready to throw in the towel, man. I was pretty hurt, but I started thinking about it, and you know, I don't give up easy. I'm a persistent person when I set my mind to it. So I turned around and I pulled up Amazon again a little bit later that day, and there was a new buyer option that said I could prepay for my mic adapter and I would receive it in a month. And I thought, okay, well, it's a whole nother month, but I haven't uploaded in, you know, 3 months anyway, so one more month isn't going to kill me. And that'll give me time to get my new GoPro, get everything set up, get refreshed, you know, get some video ideas going. And then I get home from work 2 days later, and it's on my doorstep. And I freaked out, man. It was already like 8:30 or something like that. But basically, I could not get to a Best Buy that night. The closest Best Buy was 50 minutes away, and they closed in like 15. So I had to admit temporary defeat and acknowledge the fact that there was no way I was getting my GoPro that night. And I thought, well, I got one more day at work, then I'm off for 2 days. After I take the kids to school, I can fly up to Best Buy, get a GoPro, and get a video done that day. So fast forward to the next day, I'm sitting at work, and I'm thinking, you know, I get an hour lunch break, and there's a Best Buy about 30 miles from here. I bet I could fly over there, get this GoPro, and get back just in time, right? Well, the problem with that is work was absolutely crazy that day, and I didn't get to take a lunch break. So much for that idea, right? So a couple hours passes, and all I can think about is this GoPro, and I decided to take a shot in the dark and ask the wife, even though she's had the kids all day, baby, do you mind if after work I slide over to Best Buy and get this GoPro, please? Now, the worst thing she could tell me is no. Well, actually, the worst thing she'd do is tell me no and then go into this big lecture about she's had the kids all day and she needs some help and she's tired and all, and then she'll start yelling at me, and then I, you know, which is what happened. But here's the thing about my wife. She yells and she does whatever, but my wife has a heart of gold. She is a wonderful person, and she's got a really, really good heart. So she ends up telling me, you know what, babe, just go, I'll be fine. And I'm going, are you sure, sweetie? Because, you know, this sounds like a setup question. Like, I've heard this type of thing before, and it never ends well, right? You know, it's one of those, like, just go, I'm fine, don't worry about it. Do whatever you want to do. Now, for those of you who haven't been married or really been in a serious relationship, I'm gonna go ahead and give you some advice. Anytime your partner says any combination of those words, 999 times out of 1,000, it's a trap. And I was pretty sure that this was a trap. I was just positive that once I left the house, I was gonna get an ugly message, and then another ugly message, and then another one, and just either A, turn around and come home without it and have taken the ass chewing for nothing, or B, go get what I need and really suffer. But like I said, my wife has a heart of gold, and you know, I'm not saying she wasn't irritated, because she was, and the kids were driving her crazy, but you know, it's just... Also, one little detail, I couldn't even just make the 30-minute drive over to get the GoPro, because I would have drove 30 minutes in the opposite direction of home and then an hour drive back, right? But my dumb ass left my wallet at home, so I had to come home. Alright, y'all, I hope you enjoyed that footage of my first real ride on a cruiser, and I hate that it ended so abruptly. Like I said, there was an additional 10 or 15 minutes that was lost because my GoPro decided to cut off mid-ride, and if you ask Nautagrom, he'll tell you it's because GoPros suck, and he hates them, and we all know that, but we love him anyway. But that's going to do it for today's video, guys. Leave a like and comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for me if you're new. Speaking of new, if you look in the description of today's video, I'm going to link my Instagram. I'm going to start being more active on my social media. And I'm also going to link another Instagram page there. If you noticed, I got a new avatar for my YouTube. It's the same as my profile picture for my Instagram. That was drawn up by a buddy of mine that I grew up skateboarding with in my hometown. And I kept seeing him post these awesome pictures on his Instagram, and he does all this amazing artwork, and I asked him if he could draw something up for me, and of course I paid him for it. I'm not going to ask an artist to work for free, and he did that in a day. I sent him a picture, and he drew that all up in a day, so I couldn't be more thankful. It turned out awesome. So I'm going to link mine and his Instagram in the description down below, so go over there and check those out and give those both a follow. With that being said, guys, it's cold, I'm cold, it's starting to rain, so we'll see you next time.